Hello, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. This is Tyler Ellison, and it is Wednesday the 29th at 1:39 p.m., and I'm going to go into a channeling flow. I don't know what Riok's going to talk about. He's the guy I'm going to bring through. If those of you don't know who that is, he is an being that I perceive to be a future self that is psychically linked to me, so I let him borrow my voice and communicate messages through me. So if this is your first time hearing the content, welcome. It's great to have you. For those of you that have heard many of the videos, many facets of the information he's already delivered, welcome back, and let's get started. All right, and we thank you all so much for your participation in this co-creation. As always, it is our civilization's highest joy, passion, and excitement to be able to have these types of co-creative interactions with each and every single one of you. Now, we are going to begin the transmission with the following concept. Your mind is a result of your beliefs. Understand, your mind, what you experience to be your thoughts, what you experience to be the idea of your sense of self, who you are, your strengths, your weaknesses, your pros and cons, your unlimited nature and your limitation, your ability to experience all of these concepts you consider to be somewhat intellectual, somewhat mental, are mediated, organized, and expressed through the idea of your beliefs about yourself. Now understand, everything, as you already know, in the reality is a neutral prop. It has no built-in meaning. Therefore, it produces no effect without first you imposing some kind of meaning upon the prop. So understand, your physical mind is a prop. Your thoughts are props. Your sense of your past, your sense of your future are props. All of these things and more you consider to be facets of your identity are props. Now understand, our civilization has shared with you before the idea that everything changes. That it is one in that way of the fundamental laws of creation, that everything changes except the idea of the other fundamental laws. So understand that even though many of you may feel your sense of self, who you are, your identity is very solid, is very stable, is very consistent, either in a way you prefer or in a way you don't, understand that in every moment, every second, you've actually shifted through billions of versions of yourself, all whom have a different mind. They all technically have a slightly different mind. Now, understand, within your life, when you act consistently in a certain way, you produce the illusion of a consistent self, saying this is who I am across the board, when in reality, you are shifting through billions upon billions upon billions of selves over a period of a second. And all of those selves are similar enough in nature that it creates the illusion of you being the same person over time. But understand, within 1 second, you have been billions of people that are all very similar in theme, thus creating the experience of a continuation of a personality. Now, as you begin to make changes within your behavior that sort of acts as a breakup or a remixing of that consistency, the idea is that's when you begin to experience the expansion, the evolution of that, you could say, solidified character into the idea of a new self. Now, understand, as we have said, you're new selves every second, but because of the idea of routine, of what you might call habit, of cycles, many of you don't actually expand past the consistent behavior. Therefore, the experience of being a new self, for many of you at times can seem a little out of touch. And you say, well, I've been this way for so long, I don't really understand how I could be a new self. But understand, you're always a new self. And as you act differently, as you, in that sense, mix up the consistent patterns, as you mix up your choices, as you, in that sense, throw in more color, so to say, into your reality, that's when you get to have, in that sense, the tactile experience of being a new self. For should you make the same actions, which are based off of the idea of your emotions, your thoughts, and your beliefs, then the idea is you create the experience of a continuation of a similar self who's based in those patterns, who's based in that energy. So should you break up that consistency in a way that you prefer, in a way that is exciting to you, then understand you will expand your point of view and you'll have the tactile sensation of stepping into a new reality, of stepping into a new self, because that's what it actually takes. Understand, if you plug the same numbers into a mathematical formula, you will always get the same answer because that's the way the energy works. That's the way the energy of the numbers works. For the most part, there are ways to bend this, but generally speaking, in your mathematics, that's the way the numbers work. So understand that your patterns, your actions, your thoughts, your words, your feelings, all of these things, think of them as variables within the mathematical equation. And when you put the same variables in, you will always get, in that sense, a very similar, if not seemingly identical, answer, result. So throw in new numbers into your reality. And let's break this down. What is it to break up a pattern, so to say, or to create a new pattern of your preference, a new modality of expressing yourself that represents expansion into a new self, with a new mind, with a new identity? Well, understand, all you in that sense must do is go within and investigate within yourself what are the actions to you that represent your joy, that represent your passion, that represent your ecstasy in a genuine way. For we understand there are many things in your reality that may feel similar to ecstasy, that may feel similar to joy, but understand that many of these things that create pseudo-sensations of these natural emotions that are within you, in many ways are not fully representative of those emotions and those states of being, and can in that sense be an escape route or a crutch. And that is why we put the emphasis on the honest investigation of that which actually inspires you. Not that which numbs pain, so to say, not that produces a temporary high, so to say, or a shortcut or a quick fix, but rather what represents an action you could do for hours that would be enriching, that you feel would ripple like a pebble thrown into a lake, into all of the areas of your life positively. What to you represents a holistic, positive, expressive action that you can take. Maybe it's something you explored very greatly when you were a child. Maybe it's something that you've always wanted to explore, but never really gave yourself the opportunity to express it. Well, understand that now you all have a golden opportunity to allow for yourselves to insert into your daily lives the idea of actions that can be big or small that represent your passion in some way, that represent your true excitement in some way. And for those of you that feel like you're static in your thinking, or maybe you're a little stagnant in the idea of expressing yourselves, all you in that sense must do to really break that up is insert just one, big or small, expression of passion into your day. And every day act on this. One day, then the next day, then the next day. Continue to inspire this action within yourself. Continue to choose this action. And what will happen is you're going to begin to build a level of consistency within your state of being that represents an expansion into a new direction with a new self that is in full resonance with that passion, with that energy. So your life then, your sense of self begins to take on those qualities because you're expressing yourself in that way. And that action in and of itself of passion, the only reason that's even possible for you to act upon is because you already contain the passion yourself. If you did not contain that joy, if you did not contain that passion, you would not be able to actually take that action. So understand, at your core, you are already passion. You are already joy. You are already unconditional love. All you must do is act that out in some way. Allow for yourself to play the character in the movie that is the cinematic masterpiece of unconditional love. And this will allow for you, gradually, at your own pace, to shift to a reality, to shift to a version of yourself that's more reflective of your passion, more reflective of your joy. Now, as we have said, all you must do in that sense is insert one passion-based activity to really get the ball rolling. And understand, it doesn't have to be the same activity each day. It can be a new expression of passion each day if you are inspired to express your passion in a unique way. But the idea is to take the passion-based action every day. Now, if you were to look at your life in that way, as a circle that represents 100%, and you were to divide that circle into little slivers that represent the idea of 5% or 10% or 20% slices of the circle, if you were to look at your life like this, understand the slivers, the slices of the circle, represent in that way your current actions, your current energy. And you're using in that way all of your energy to create a 100% point of view and expression and experience of yourself. Now, the idea is if your circle in that sense is already at 100%, the idea would be to allow for yourself to dissolve the actions or the energies in one of the slivers to free up the idea of more space within your overall circle of life for you to insert the passion. Because if it feels like your mug is filled up to the brim and is going to overflow should you insert just one more task, one more expression of yourself into your reality, then the idea is that it may not feel very appealing to insert a passionate step. It may actually, for some of you, feel a little much. So the idea would be to investigate within that 100% circle of your life the different slivers that represent how you're currently using your energy, the choices you're currently making, and begin to see if there's any choices that you can let go of in knowingness that it's safe to let go of it. Are there any choices, are there any ways within that overall 100% that you're expressing yourself that is sort of, you could say, not fully reflective of your passion? And should you let go of it, there's not really the appearance or the experience of you losing anything. It may actually be something you really desire to let go of. And maybe it'll take a little coaxing or greasing the wheels for you to let go of it. But understand, when you begin to let go of the negative behavioral patterns or expressions of self, you then free up some of the percentages within that 100% circle of life, so you then have space. And in that space, there is peace. In that space, there is freedom. And where there is space, freedom, and peace, there is naturally the expression of love. There is naturally the expression of joy. And as you open up that space, you will find that your passion, you will find that your joy will begin to naturally express itself through you, thus occupying that new slot of space within the 100% circle of your life. And that can allow for you to very gradually rearrange the patterns you have built so that way you can insert new patterns, new ways of organizing yourself systematically, step by step, day by day. So that way you can experience your life expanding in a truly positive direction as a new self that you prefer, in a new reality that you prefer. So allow for yourselves to investigate, how am I using my energy consistently over time? What are the daily actions? What are the daily choices? What are the rituals of my life that I entertain daily? And begin to see if there's any parts of this that you feel you are able to let go of. And allow for yourselves to take those steps, and then allow for yourselves to replace, or so to say, or fill that new space with the idea of an action of preference. And let this be a gradual process. You will find at first, for those of you who are new to this information, it may be a little bit of a slow rolling of the ball. It may be a slow process, a slow starting to the chugging of the train that can move very quickly, should the train remain on track. So it may begin gradual, it may begin small, and that can be perfect for you. That can be very appropriate for you, because that can create the experience of I'm in control, and this is safe, and I can do this at my own pace, in my own way. And it can allow for you to feel bold enough to begin to express yourself more. And you'll find that as you fill more of your life with the passion, with the joy, that train will gain more momentum. You'll have an understanding of the track, how it feels to be on the track, so that way you can know how to remain on track, which again is simply something you do automatically through the idea of taking positive actions, through the idea of using positive beliefs. And that is how you keep the train of your preference on the track of your dreams, thus allowing for you to expand into a new self, into a new reality, into a new point of view that is custom fit, custom built for the preferred you. Remember, all things in the reality are neutral. You don't have to do anything. Now, we are at this point going to allow for you to contemplate this, to play with this, in whatever way, shape, or form you prefer. It is in that way our gift to your civilization, one of our many gifts of expression. And we, in that way, are looking forward to playing with many of you. Beginning this Friday, May 1st, in our 4-week class, where we will explore the idea of the inner child, where we will explore the idea of systematically creating the reality you prefer, just as we have described in this transmission, steps you can take, examples, opportunities to interact with us directly for guidance, which is really a reflection of your own inner guidance. And this is very exciting for our civilization, because these types of classes and these types of interactions with you and your civilization represent a level of deepening and a level of solidification between our realities. The realities of my people, Sasani, and the idea of your civilization, of humanity. So we may one day play together directly, in a physicalized sense, in a direct sense, and understand this class is designed to assist each of you with this, and understand all of the information we have just provided for you will automatically, should you apply it with no expectation of any particular outcome, it will automatically be in resonance with our frequency, thus allowing for you to experience greater levels of contact with all of us. So remember, if you really wish to experience extraterrestrials, if you really wish to experience heaven on earth, if you really wish to experience miracles within your life daily, understand all you must do, at a minimum, is be yourself. And when we say at a minimum, we just mean that's it. That's all you have to do. Be yourself. and act that self out. Let that self be bold. Let that self be known in a way that is loving, in a way that is joyful, in a way that represents your passion. And this will synchronize you with our frequencies so we may interact with you more directly, thus allowing for us to resonate more greatly with one another as a form of assistance and service for each of you, as you are also playing a role of assistance and service to each of us. For the relationship between our world and your world is symbiotic, and we in that way receive a great deal of information, a great deal of opportunities, a great deal of new doorways through the idea of us simply interacting with your civilization, as do all of you. And that is one of the reasons we are so ecstatic. We are so excited to be able to have these conversations with your civilization, as you are in that way our ancestors. And we, in that sense, love learning about the story of life and the aspects of the story of life that emphasize humanity's expansion into the stars, which is paradoxically and ironically a result of a deepening of your expansion into yourselves. Our unconditional love to you always, and we thank you for the co-creation of this interaction, this transmission. We are very excited to play with each of you in more direct